Hi, welcome to Break My Gadget, and I'll be reviewing the BT TV Box Pro. So many of you who have got broadband or BT, you may be offered to upgrade to this, and I'll show you it. I'll be looking not only at the hardware, but I'll be looking at the functionality of this. So I'll be comparing it to the Roku box, which I've reviewed before. The reason for that is because the Roku box has all the apps you'd ever want in terms of Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon, etc., etc., you know, going into other countries as well. So I want to see, you know, not only obviously can it do Freeview, but what other apps can you download and what's the functionality like? So with Disney Plus and with Netflix, do you get Dolby Atmos surround sound? Do you get Dolby Vision? All those kind of things. So let's go through it. First things first, the hardware itself. It's quite indiscreet. It doesn't really screen too flashy. It's just black with a BT logo on the front of it. And then if I go on to the back of it, very simply, power aerial in and an aerial out. It also has a infrared, like a SPDIF. So if you still use that in terms of putting the sound out, has an Ethernet in, as you'd expect, has a HDMI in and has a USB. So I'm interested in the USB, if it can read from that, pictures and things like that. And it has one HDMI as well. Okay, so it is, you know, fairly basic, but it's pretty much got everything that you would probably expect or need coming out of it. Yeah, so the remote control actually is probably the most disappointing part of it in terms of design. It's not going to win any awards. I've got a Harmony remote, so I won't be using it. I've done a review for that, so you can by all means look at it. The other thing as well, which for me I find personally annoying, is that it comes with AAA batteries. I like the functionality of having a docking station where this just charges. But then most of them, Sky, Virgin, don't really offer that, so I'm probably being a bit too picky. In terms of the design, as you can see, pretty basic in terms of what it does. In terms of completeness, before I go into the functionality of what the BT box does, what do you get in the box so you don't end up having to pay extra for stuff? So you get the Ethernet cable and you get a HDMI cable as well, which is quite nice. And you get a power plug. You know, you can't use something else. This comes standard with it, so break this, you're gonna have to buy a new one. So it's not USB or anything like that. So let me turn it on, let me get it started, and let me use it for a little while, and then show you how good it is. So let's see the functionality of it. So this is plugged in, just so you're aware of my setup. I've got a HDMI that's going into a Marantz AVR and going into the television. But if I just show you, so the interface itself on the home button is that you've got, you know, your apps, guide, anything that you've got as recordings, then it starts going into BT player, TV shows. So, you know, this is, and what I really like about this interface, which is very different from what I've seen on version of Sky, is you can still see the actual kind of what's behind in terms of what's playing. But if I go to the apps, because that's the thing that probably most people are going to be interested in, as you'll immediately see, the one thing that's missing is Disney Plus. That's the big one, but you have got your normal, I mean, if I go through the subscriptions ones first, your Netflix, your Prime, Now, BritBox, those are the apps. But if I keep going right, there is no way that I have found that I can add any more apps onto here. So these are the apps that you get with it. Now you'll immediately see that there's quite a few that are missing. So Channel 4, ITV are missing off there. Channel 5 is on there, strangely. You've got Netflix, Prime Video, Now. But I'd say it's quite limited in terms of the apps that you can get on there. And if, like I said, it hasn't really got an app store, and that's his biggest failure over things like a Roku box, which I have done a review for before. There isn't really much on here in terms of apps. Now, it has got other blank areas down here, so whether BT will start adding them, who knows? Okay, just going to put Top Boy on. I won't play all of it. you won't be able to see here, but I'll show you. It is playing Dolby Atmos. Okay, so it does have Dolby Atmos. Again, if going away from the apps, if I go to guide, as usual, it's pretty good in terms of, the interface, very, very similar to, most Freeview boxes. What you can do, which I quite like, is if I hit the blue button, then you can start actually filtering on HD and Ultra HD, which I really like. I really like that functionality, especially most of the time now you're going to be watching HD content. You can also click on subscribed, but again, the content is really limited. And I've got a digital hookup to this, so it is a little bit limiting. But if I go up, so if I go back on here, in the normal way, what you can do is if I wanted to record Channel 4 News, it will let me, if I hit the record button on here, it will say, do I want to record the series or the episode? So it's, the interface, this is not really probably telling you anything you don't really know, is pretty good. I think as a Freeview box, it's great. The guide facility is brilliant. The recording of HD. So it's really good as a Freeview box, really good with the TV guide. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for the apps. Netflix does have Atmos, as has Prime, so that is actually quite a good, strong selling point. And I'll put on the right hand side here all the other things in terms of Dolby Vision and all those kind of things for technophiles.
So here we go. So here are some of the specs of the BT Pro compared to the Sky Q. So the immediate thing is that the drive space is comparable, about 1 terabyte. You can get 2 terabytes. Number of channels recorded, BT Pro is at a big disadvantage. It only has 2 in digital mode, whereas it's 6 in Sky Q. Now you can record 4 if it's on the aerial. So if you're getting the aerial terrestrial channels, you can get 4, but that is a limitation. Buffer for rewind and pausing. So that means if you pause, you've got only an hour on Sky Q before it starts replaying. There's 2 hours on the BT Pro. Vision wise, very similar, 4K HDR, Dolby Vision UHD. Sound wise, they both have Atmos, but only on the Sky content for Sky Q, not on Netflix like BT Pro.
You can connect mobile devices. So in order to do this, if you want to, you can download the mobile app. So you can start connecting your device and then sharing stuff on the TV, which is quite good. Never used it, but pretty decent. Bluetooth remote as well. So this is a Bluetooth remote, isn't an IR remote. So immediately you can tell your battery level, all that kind of stuff. There isn't anything on here really that is mind-blowing. The only thing that I would say, and it might be interesting for some of you, is you've got this audio description on here, which is quite good actually. So audio description, I don't know if it's done through BT, but it means that you can get an audio description for those, if you're hard of sight or anything like that. The other thing as well, which I quite like, is a power and standby. So you can have an automatic standby and you can have a standby mode, which is always ready. So in other words, it turns on straight away. If you put it onto the Smart and Energy Saver, it just takes longer to start up. Energy Saver takes about 2 minutes. Smart, depending on your use, it might keep it on between, say, 9 and 10 at night. Always ready means that it basically never sleeps. Okay, so I usually put it onto Energy Saver for 2 minutes. Okay, so I think that's probably it. I think the plus that I like is it's indiscreet as a box. It's got most of the connections that you'd want. It's got one HDMI out. It's not going to be used as an interface where you put HDMI in, HDMI out, and it goes into anything, anything special. It's got IR, and it's got a Bluetooth remote. Those are the good things. I think the negative things is the connection. So it hasn't got many apps. It's got the basic ones of BBC. It has got Prime. It's got Netflix. Hasn't got Disney Plus, and it's got Now TV, but if you wanted things like Sky Sports app or anything like that, hasn't got any of that stuff, and it doesn't seem that there is a app store that you can download those, or not that I've found one. So I think limitations are the apps. However, that said, the apps that you've got do have Dolby Atmos. I think the positive is it's quite slick. It's quite a large hard drive for what it is. So that's it.
I hope you like. Please do like, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Any questions, just put them in the comments and I will answer.